His brother drained every account, abandoned their father, and ran to Vegas.
Marshall Howell built his life through discipline, long hours, and steady work, believing his small, stable world could protect the people he loved. His wife Taylor supported him through every moment until the day she called him during an important meeting to tell him something was wrong with his father. Marshall learned his father had not been seen in days, and his brother Hunter, who was supposed to check on him, had gone to Las Vegas with his wife Iris. Marshall flew to Asheville, immediately terrified of what he would find. His childhood home was dark, cold, and filthy, nothing like the warm place he remembered. He found his father lying in a bed soaked with days of neglect, confused, dehydrated, and alone. He called 911, furious at Hunter for abandoning the man who had raised them. At the hospital, Marshall learned his father was suffering from severe malnutrition and elder neglect. He promised himself he would uncover the truth no matter what it cost him. As his father slept, Marshall searched the house for answers. He discovered empty accounts, missing documents, and a notebook where his father quietly recorded suspicious withdrawals. He realized Hunter and Iris had been draining their father's finances for months. When he visited the bank, he learned Hunter had taken out a reverse mortgage and wired hundreds of thousands of dollars to himself. Marshall knew then that his brother had not simply been careless, he had been stealing deliberately. He hired a ruthless attorney, Blair Way, who confirmed Hunter could face up to 20 years for elder abuse and fraud. Marshall gathered medical records, bank statements, neighbor testimony, and home photos. He prepared everything carefully, knowing Hunter would try to lie his way out. When Marshall called Hunter, he heard partying in the background and realized his brother saw their father as nothing more than a wallet. That call ended whatever remained of brotherhood. While Rodney recovered slowly, Marshall froze accounts, secured the house, and told Taylor everything. She supported his plan fully. When Hunter and Iris came back to town, Marshall blocked them from seeing his father. He documented every crime, ready to press charges. He discovered Hunter had been gambling heavily, selling family belongings, forging signatures, and using Rodney as collateral to support his addiction. It was worse than he imagined. On Christmas Eve, Marshall brought his father home and promised never to let Hunter hurt him again. Rodney wept, realizing the truth he'd been avoiding. Marshall assured him justice was coming, but he wanted to do it in a way that would make Hunter feel what Rodney had felt: fear, abandonment, and helplessness. Marshall set a trap. He arranged for Hunter to believe there was a big investment opportunity. He created a dummy property deal knowing Hunter's greed would make him desperate. He leaked just enough information to Hunter's gambling friends to ensure the story reached him. As expected, Hunter begged Marshall to help him secure the investment. Marshall pretended to consider it, knowing Hunter planned to steal from their father again. With hidden cameras and court authorization, Marshall recorded Hunter pressuring Rodney to give him more money. It was the final piece he needed. Marshall then invited Hunter and Iris to a fake meeting at an office building. They thought they were getting help. Instead, they walked into a room filled with federal agents, a reporter, Rodney, and Marshall's attorney. Marshall confronted them calmly as the FBI listed every crime they had committed, from forgery to wire fraud. Hunter tried to blame Marshall. Iris tried to flee. Rodney told them both they were nothing more than thieves. The FBI presented footage of Hunter coercing Rodney and Iris stealing money. There was no escape. They were arrested on the spot. Over the next months, Marshall pushed forward with civil suits, restraining orders, and criminal charges. The community learned everything, and Hunter and Iris became infamous. Their reputations collapsed overnight. Iris miscarried shortly after the arrest, and Hunter blamed Marshall for the tragedy. But Marshall knew their choices led them there. As federal investigators dug deeper, they connected Iris to a larger fraud ring, pushing her potential sentence even higher. Hunter eventually pled guilty, receiving 12 years in state prison. Iris was convicted in federal court and sentenced to 25 years. Rodney won over $1 million in civil damages, though nothing was left to take. Marshall moved his father to Chicago so he could rebuild his life. For the first time in years, Rodney felt safe. Marshall repaired the damage to their family home, sold it, and helped his father join a new community. Life slowly gained warmth again. Marshall focused on his work, his wife, and his daughter Lena. He tried to let go of the bitterness that had dominated him during the case. 5 years later, Rodney passed away peacefully, surrounded by the family who truly loved him. Marshall gave a heartfelt eulogy, remembering his father's strength and quiet sacrifices. Hunter wrote a bitter letter from prison blaming Marshall for everything, but Marshall burned it without hesitation. He knew Hunter had chosen his path. Marshall chose to protect his father. In the end, Marshall realized that justice was not revenge, it was responsibility. He had done what a son should do. He saved his father, exposed the truth, and cut out the poison that threatened their family. Sitting beside his wife after the funeral, he felt peace for the first time in years. His father was safe, his family was whole, and the past no longer had power over him.